Well, good morning. After a lot of fucking around, I finally got my brand new Pistol Grip Pro Stick working well. It was a bitch. What the issue was trying to get the reverse lights and the neutral safety switches to work properly. What the issue with it was there was a lot of side-to-side play on the shifter handle. So you'd have it adjusted, but there'd be enough play in the shifter that it would wobble over this way and it would close the switches, so your reverse lights would be on and it would start in any gear. You had to hold the shifter over to the left, and I had both my switches adjust out as far as they would go. And once I got messing around with it, trying to figure out why there was so much play in the shifter, I realized this pin here, the head was sticking out a little bit past the body. And when I got looking at it, on this side, what you have is E-clips holding these pins in. Well, as you can see, this one here, this front one is fine. This one here, the E-clip is good and tight against the shifter body, and the head of the pin is the whole way in. Now this one here, the groove for the E-clip was out quite a ways. So what I ended up doing, and that's where all that play was. So I got rooting around and I found a thin piece of sheet metal that I was able to drill a half-inch hole in, and I used vice grips on the head of the pin here and clamped it all the way over, and I put my shim on, and then I got my E-clip back in. Now there is no side-to-side play in the shifter, and now I was able to get the switches all working properly. It was a lot of work. You would think you pay $400 for a shifter that you wouldn't have to fuck around with it and get it to work the way it should, but I guess that's some of the quality we get. It's like a buddy of mine said, it may say made in the USA, but the only thing made in the USA is the sticker. Everything's China. Now what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to, as I showed in another video, I'm going to change this grip out. I have one that has a button, and so take this grip off and this grip off, and there's a button, and the wire comes through and it feeds down this groove, and you can bring it out here, and then you just put both your grips back on. So I'm about to do that. And another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take another momentary switch, like the neutral, exact same as the neutral safety and the reverse lights, and I'm going to drill a hole and mount it back here. And what that's going to be for is when this shifter comes back all the way into low gear, it's going to close the momentary switch, and I'm going to use that for my two-step on my brake pedal. The reason for that is that when it's in low gear and I'm using a brake pressure switch to activate my two-step, so when you have the shifter in low gear, and it'll let the current go through, and then when the brake pedal is depressed and the sender sees pressure, that will close, and that current will activate the wire on my two-step. So then you can sit there and I can adjust my two-step dial. So when I'm on the foot brake at the line, I can foot brake it and be on the two-step, and then just have to, the gas pedal be to the floor and just sidestep the brake pedal. And the reason for having the switch here on the back that it's only activated in low gear is obviously you don't want the two-step to come on every time you touch the brake pedal. So once you launch and you shift out of low gear, or anytime you're out of low gear, the two-step will not work. It can only be activated in low gear. And I may also put a toggle switch in line there too, so even though in low gear it can't work. I know a lot of fellow racers here that foot brake and have a two-step on the foot brake. They do not have a switch for low gear. All they have is a toggle switch. So once you leave the line, you have to turn your toggle switch off. That just seems like an awful lot on the go. Just as easy, it's much easier just to have it activated in low gear. I mean, as we all know, sometimes we have our hands full with these cars, and if you forget to turn your toggle switch off for your two-step after you leave during the run, bracket racing, we're always playing games at the stripe, so last thing you want to do is go to tap your brakes to fender race someone and your two-step come on. So anyway, we'll get at that. Talk to y'all later. Bye.